Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the offhand. My name is Steven. His name is Chayeb, and we're missing our actual host, Andy. Andy, we miss you, but thank you for giving me the power of hosting this wonderful show. Today, we're going to be talking about three wish list free agency ideas, destinations, perhaps. So, right now, we're going to start with you, Chayeb.
So my three players and three teams are I'm gonna be taking Allen Robinson to the Patriots, Shaq Barrett to the Chargers, and Aaron Jones to the Ravens. So I'm gonna start off with Allen Robinson.
Okay.
Allen Robinson, I feel like he would be a good fit in New England, just on a New England fan, being the New England fan that I am, wanting him to be there. He's a very low key, at least how it seems, is very low key. He doesn't seem to be a very rambunctious like an Antonio Brown type.
So, he's
Seems like
humble, somewhat.
yeah, yeah. He seems like he would fit the Patriot system pretty well, considering that they really, really need it. They have 62 million cap space. I would hope that the Patriots sign him, considering that this year their top receiver only racked in about 729 yards, and that's very pitiful for a team that of
Especially for the Patriots.
yeah, especially for like the Patriot caliber teams that have
Yeah.
happened. That is very pitiful scores or yards.
Yeah.
And I would hope that they would sign him, and I would hope he would accept an offer from the Patriots, just considering like how much they can offer him at least for this year. Aaron Jones is the second guy that I'm going to be talking about.
Okay.
I think he'd be a good fit for the Ravens, considering like they have a running back in J.K. Dobbins who's just coming off his first season. He had Mark Ingram ahead of him. The I think he would work well in that system, just considering that he is a good pass catching running back. He's also just a good running back, down the field running back in general. Um, they do have about 18 million cap space, so signing him would be a little bit tricky, considering that most of the top paid running backs right now are between 15 and 13 million. So I would assume that
It's a good chunk of money to be spending on a running back,
and if
especially
he,
your whole cap.
yeah, if he's willing to take a little bit of a pay cut, maybe they can get him for 13 million
Hmm.
for maybe 2 years. He would definitely be the number one running back in that Ravens system. I think J.K. Dobbins would be a number two, but he could be also a good mentor for J.K. Dobbins. It would be nice to see him like mentor him and then be able after his 2 years, considering I think he's 26, Aaron Jones,
Hmm.
he would be able to move on and go to a different team and still be a peak performer, and
Okay.
then just like him getting old and then him being let go. So that'd be a nice
So,
suit.
as you see it, it's Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, 1-2 punch,
Yes.
perfect for yardage.
Yeah, considering how they used Mark Ingram 2 years ago, it would be. I think it would look a little bit like that.
Who do you think's more the power guy in that?
Out of those two,
Because both of them have speed. It's all a matter of
yeah,
who's a little bit more power than the other.
I would still go Aaron Jones. I
Okay,
don't
that's
know
fair.
if I don't. At least in my eyes, I don't think J.K. Dobbins has proven that to me yet. But I think Aaron Jones definitely has that number one spot and definitely can run the ball through people.
Yeah.
All right. And then my number three guy is Shaq Barrett going to the Chargers. The reason why I think this is a good place for him to land is because the Chargers have so much cap.
How much
He's
cap to
also
begin with?
they have about 23 million in cap.
Okay.
Even if he takes a lot of money, like 15 million, it would still be a good place for him to fit. They would still have cap to build a little bit around him. I know their defense has been pretty bad this like past few seasons.
Seasons,
Hasn't
decades.
Yeah, it hasn't been has been awful.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see them get a veteran. Also, he'd be their strong side linebacker, who right now their strong side is Melvin Ingram the third. I would assume if they were to pick him up, they would move Melvin Ingram to the inside, be an inside linebacker. So
Okay.
then they could have Joey Bosa and Shaq Barrett on usually on the D line,
That's a pretty scary
which
line.
yeah, which would be a pretty big 1-2 punch on the outsides,
Yeah.
even with their DNs. So I think that would be a great place for him to go. It seems like it'd be a good fit considering he just came off a Super Bowl win with the Tampa Bay Bucks. So yeah. So Steven, what are your three teams and three players?
My three players and teams, I'm going to start off with Juju to the Patriots,
Mm,
just because, and you're taking Allen Robinson to the Patriots because you think he'd be a good fit.
yes.
I want Juju to go to the Patriots because I think he needs a little bit more maturing to do
Mm.
with
And you
everything
th-
that
and
he's.
and you think the Patriot system can at least
I
humble him a little bit?
definitely think Bill Belichick in general can humble him to the extent that he needs to be humbled.
Gotcha.
Um, because with the little TikTok dances on other teams' logos, I mean, he says it's not disrespectful, but come on.
The
Was
history
that?
of it is pretty
Yeah.
disrespectful.
TO on the star, you're really going to tell me there's no disrespectful meaning behind that? Especially to the Bengals, you know? I mean, obviously, in that season, or this season, they completely destroyed the Steelers, so that was very fun to watch. And
Mm.
I think the cockiness and the dancing on TikTok, um, I think that is what put like a target on their back almost, just because everybody really wanted to see Juju just fail.
Yeah, that it motivated other teams to do
Yeah.
better. Yep.
So extra motivation is never a good thing when it's against you. So, um, yeah, that's my number one guy to the Patriots. My number two guy is JJ Watt. I think he'd be a great fit in Indianapolis. I think, like you said last episode, they have a great defense. They had a great defense this season.
Mm.
And I think adding one more key element to that defense is just going to make them completely unstoppable now that they have Carson Wentz. And we both also said last episode that if they had Carson Wentz, they'd be contenders for a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Now, if they have JJ Watt, they're a shoe in. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
there's no other way to say it.
With having Justin Houston on the other side, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
shoe in. Um, and my last guy is Levante David going to the Chargers, kind of like Shaq Barrett also going to the Chargers. So either way you look at it, I kind of see the Chargers needing a linebacker.
Mm.
And I'm kind of looking at it the same way you are because I think he's a linebacker, but he can also be right outside or left outside. He could be moved around. He doesn't just play one position. So again, for a defense that's been bad for decades, I think adding another linebacker, another element to anything is great. I don't see them as contenders next season coming up, but I
For
think
sure.
signing a linebacker in general, preferably Levante David, or maybe even preferably Shaq Barrett, just because he's younger.
Mm.
But either one, I think, would be a perfect fit and a
Definitely.
step to becoming contenders,
Yeah.
just for playoffs in general. Um, and yeah, so any honorable mentions?
Not that I have.
Any, because we don't want anyone going to like the Jacksonville Jaguars or the
Yeah,
Jets or
even
anything
though
like
those
that.
teams have the two biggest cap spaces,
Yeah.
it's just too much up in the air with what those teams might get. Considering that the Jags have 77 million, it would be easy to say, "Oh yeah, let's send these players to the Jets and Jags," even
I mean,
though
look how it turned out when they sent someone or completely cut someone like Leonard Fournette. He won a Super Bowl with Tampa
yeah.
Bay. So another Florida team, which is kind of like an in-state rival, but
Mm.
you know. But yeah, thank you, Andy, for letting me host this wonderful show. Thank you, Chive, for joining me. And that's that episode of The Offhand.